You took the money from your savings for the car repair and then quietly decided you didn't owe yourself any more. Have you ever noticed what happens when an unexpected expense turns up? The car needs work, the hot water service dies, the excess insurance lands right at the wrong moment. You look at the accounts and there isn't enough in the obvious place, but there's money sitting in the savings. So you transfer it across and tell yourself, I'll put it back next month. Most people think that the problem is that they had to touch the savings. They make it mean that the system failed, that they went backwards, that they're bad with money. But using available money is not the problem. The deeper issue is what happens next. Next month arrives, another expense appears, then the repayment gets delayed, and then it gets forgotten. And the money you borrowed from yourself quietly becomes a gift. Inside Money River Mastery, we make a clear distinction. A movement between your own accounts still requires integrity. The money may all belong to you, but each account has a purpose. And when you take money from one purpose to serve another, something needs to remain visible, not for punishment or shame, but for truth. That's why we treat it as a functional loan. You record what was taken and keep the balance visible, and you repay it deliberately. Because the moment you stop acknowledging what happened, you collapse the creative tension. The gap disappears from view, and with it, the invitation to honour the structure that serves your bigger picture. Most people avoid recording the loan because the number makes them feel uncomfortable. They'd rather move on and tell themselves they'll sort it out later. But discomfort is not the enemy. The visible gap is information. It tells you what's here. It's important to acknowledge as fact, but it's not something that requires your emotional energy. The true north distinction is that the unexpected expense did not take your power. The condition did not take your power. You remain the one choosing. Your power gets handed away when the movement becomes unconscious, when there is no clean decision, no record, no repayment, no ownership. That's when self-trust begins to erode. Because every time you tell yourself, I'll put it back, and then quietly abandon your commitment, your system learns. My word to myself is negotiable. This is bigger than the amount. It's about the relationship between intention and action. Because sovereignty doesn't mean you'll never need to use savings. It means you remain conscious and responsible when you do. You can say, this expense is here, and I'm choosing to use this money. This is now the amount that I'm committed to restoring. That's the current reality, held cleanly. No drama, no failure story, no pretending it never happened. It's just truth. This is a useful pattern to repeat. Fact, choice, commitment. And then the question becomes, what is the next obvious step? Maybe it's $20 a week. Maybe it's redirecting unexpected income. Or maybe it's finding another way to generate the amount to pay back. You don't need to force the whole repayment overnight, but it is important to remain in relationship with the commitment, because structure is not there to trap you. It's there to preserve the integrity of what you said mattered. So next time you transfer money out of savings, instead of asking, have I ruined everything? Ask, am I willing to stay truthful about this movement and direct what happens next? Because borrowing from yourself is not what breaks trust. It's pretending that you no longer owe yourself that does. Comment Thermostat and we'll send you the financial thermostat assessment. It'll help you identify where your current money patterns may be driven by avoidance, pressure, or old unconscious settings.